What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Itz-Beez-Da, TrackStar, and welcome back to another Dancehall video tutorial. Now, in another video, we are going to go over sidechaining and the many different ways and plugins or you can use to accomplish sidechaining. So, we're going to set up a quick drum pattern, kick 808 snare, and then we'll go through, sidechaining, all of that stuff. So I'll draw for that kick. Let's get, matter of fact, I'll use the another kit, and I'll use the trap money snare. New channel, and then of course kick 7. Can't beat it. So if the object of you sidechaining is forget a kick for knock harder or forget it to stand out, there are a few different ways how we can do that. So we're gonna do sidechaining. I will show as many different plugins as we can. Because we don't want the video too long. We're there about 5 minutes already. So let's go. So we have kick 7 here, and we'll separate it. So we have the 808 here, right? We're gonna send it to this. So there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we see if we can find 8 different plugins if we do the sidechaining. If we select the kick again, see which 808, we see which tracks it linked to. So this is the last track, right? Click separate. Boom. So this is all of the tracks so the 808 linked to. Change the color to something noticeable. So we're gonna do sidechaining. Boom. So the 808 is going to these tracks here. Let's take it out of the master. Boom. So if we play right now, we should have a crazy loud sound. So we are going to turn down the master. Yeah, we don't want that. Boom. Next, take down all of them. Like I said, we are going to do different plugins just so you can see what go on. So we have the 808 here. Next thing we're going to do, we'll take the kick in our FL Studio. All you have to do, take the kick, right click, sidechain to this track. Same thing here, sidechain, all the way across. Boom. The first thing, which is the most popular one for me, is the FabFilter Pro C2 compressor. I have it set up in a certain way. So my Pro C load up with a sidechain setting by default. The actual default settings inside of the compressor, take a look on it right now. The actual default is this. This is the default setting for the compressor. But I have mine set to load up like this. You know what I mean? I will put a copy or a link to the preset itself in the description if me remember. If you don't see it, just remind me about it and I will share a link. Boom. So if you accept the sidechain, you have to go into the plugin, press the processing button, press this gear, go processing, right click on the stereo sidechain, accept the signal, yard vibes kick 7. Boom. Now, when we go back to the compressor, we have sidechaining. But the thing is that what happens is when you over sidechain, you get pumping. So if you lower the threshold, notice how the 808 are breathe? That's called pumping. You don't want that. So the typically for me, what I do, let's go back. I have my threshold set at -18. But let's just say -18. Let's say we have already my mix already and everything good, isn't it? So threshold set and all of that. But no, me typically want about 3 to 5 dB of compression or gain reduction, basically, because that's all you do. You over compress that part of the 808 and I let it go in time for nobody notice. So right now it's very noticeable. Hold on. That's very noticeable. Less noticeable. Less. Basically indistinguishable. But me can hear it though. But when you have other instruments that play, so this is just a thresholding, remember that. Inside of the Pro C, you have multiple different layers that affect this. So let's put it back at minus 18 to where we get too much sidechaining. Boom. Now, maximize this thing up on the screen. I'm going to show this. And this is why I love FabFilter plugins. So, when we put this back in this, we get too much sidechaining. See? In the Pro C, you have a whole plethora of extra options. So, what we can do to affect the sidechain, we can delay the attack. So, if we push the attack slow, barely I get sidechaining. As I can see, it's very slow. It now attack the initial first part of the 808, and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's not. But me like me attack for super fast. Me like for you get the right at the front of the 808, just like that. You can extend your release. You see me? Basically, never come back. Me like me release super fast or auto release. Sometimes even go with auto release. You have hold, so you can make it release a little bit slow, then you can press the hold and that affect the signal. So it's like there's a lot more going on than just what you look on. You understand what I say? So there's another option, sidechain level. Now, this are going to affect the signal what I come into the compressor in the sidechain signal. So that means the kick or the sidechain signal I get, or what the sidechain portion of the EQ I get, this is what this level affects. So if I put this at minus whatever the lowest it can go, I don't know, minus 36, there's barely any sidechain. But as we go up, you start to notice so we can affect the sidechain signal in more ways than one. So we never even have to actually touch the threshold. We can just use increased gain. Now this here is amazing. We can also press addition. Boom. So let's say you now sidechain a kick on a 808. This is what we are listening to. We just are listening to the sidechain signal for the kick. And this is why I love certain manufacturers when they make plugins, because they make plugins amazingly. So we are listening to the kick right now, right? But we are listening to the kick direct and we are listening to the kick on the sidechain here. If we go here, I'm going to have to give props to FL Studio because this is very ingenious. We can take this out of the master. Boom. And now we only hear the kick from the sidechain. Cool? If you don't believe me, no, you believe me. So we can, in theory, listen to the sidechain signal and, because FabFilter is such an amazing company, turn on a EQ in the compressor, in the sidechain signal. So this not affect nothing else in the compressor. This just affect the sidechain signal what they come in. So we can shape in exactly what we want it to be, basically. You understand what I say? And we can do the same thing here. We can turn on this. So we literally can cut out the portion of the audio that we want for sidechain. Now, where this is creative is if we have a vocal and we want to use like the high end of the vocal for trigger a compressor. Basically, can use a compressor as a de-esser by using the sidechain signal. And we are going to get into more of that stuff, but this right here is just tip of the iceberg. So this is the sidechain in the FabFilter. And these are the only one I'm going to go so in depth with because I love this compressor very much and I love this company very, very much. Isn't it? So that's FabFilter. Boom. Turn that down. Bring up the next track. This would all use the Fruity limiter or the FL Studio stock limiter. And the sidechaining is pretty much the same exact thing. So bring up the Fruity limiter. Boom. If we go gear, which no, actually with the FL plugin them, it automatically have that. So if you, right here, so where's the sidechain, right click, yard vibes kick, 7. Now let's maximize this on the screen and go ahead and craft the sidechain. So now we have this. As you can see, no sidechain. Cool. Let's shift, right? So we're gonna lower the threshold. Actually, like this, I think is smaller. So let's small this up. Boom. Right? Like I say, remember, the sidechain signal is the kick. It's not playing in the master right now, so we're gonna turn it on so we can actually hear it. And similar to before, you know, it's fighting with the 808 a little bit. So let's get the 808 for now trigger. So basically, we accept the sidechain signal. Boom. The ratio is set to 1 to 1. When it's set to 1 to 1, that means 1 in, 1 out. It's not 2 in, 1 out. which is 2 to 1, 3 in, 1 out, which is 3 to 1. It's none of that. So there's no compression. If you want 1 in and 1 out, that's basically the same signal. So there's no need for compression. So now when we start adjust, we'll set a threshold to about, let's say minus 10, right? Boom. If you want to see the number, just look up in at the top left hand side when you move any parameter in a FL. And now when we move the ratio, we don't go, let's say, we not even have to go 2 to 1. We can go 1 to 4 to 1, which is very, very light compression. But you go start to side chaining. You see me? If you speed this up, you see the side chain. If you go more, you get more. We can adjust the release. Super fast release. But the kick is knocking, basically. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Now, you have similar kind of settings. You have knee, which the FabFilter have. You have attack, release, sustain, which is basically how long, which would be the hold time in the FabFilter. You can add saturation, threshold, and it's just basically like a soft clipper, but that is the side chaining in there. Now, on to the next compressor. We have, let's get something off at the top of my head. We're going to waves this time around. We'll go waves 11. And let's find one of these compressors that have a side chain built in. Now, we know the C6 side chain, or we can use the C1 compressor side chain. So, PSA, I tried to do the side chaining with the Waves C1 side chain. As you can see, it's set on the compressor. But apparently, them not give a fuck about FL Studio, so can't side chain with this compressor in FL Studio. Or maybe you can. For whatever reason, it doesn't work for me when I press side chain, so fuck that. Let's move on. We are going to go into the FabFilter Multiband, so the Pro MB this time around. And we are going to just create, let's say, one little thing here. So let's say the kick, we need the kick for the take up roughly about 50 or so. Boom, put that. Now we are here, the signal. Right? But we want to sidechain the signal. So what you go do, you come in at the Pro MB. You are go to the expert mode. Boom. You see sidechain over here. Press external. Now, the crazy thing I love this. The nice thing about the FabFilter is that you can have internal and you can have external sidechain. But you can have sidechaining pan individual bands. Whereas with the Pro C, you can only do the whole thing and filter out where you don't want to get affected. Here, you can affect different parts. So basically, we can sidechain the mids, we can sidechain the high, and all of them can have basically individual. Or no, we can basically compress the mids, the high, and the low, but we can only use the sidechain signal for the lows and not even have to use it for the highs. You see me? Which is exactly what I'm gonna do. So the high and the mids, no sidechaining upon them. If you click, you see no sidechaining at all. Upon the low end, you see external sidechain. So now, what we need to do, we need to go accept the signal. This is still internal sidechain right now because we don't accept the signal yet. So we're going to processing sidechain, yard vibes kick. Boom. Now, this sidechaining signal is getting triggered by the kick outside. If you don't believe me, let me turn it off. Nothing at all. Boom. Pretty much the same settings as the Pro C. Attack, release, you know what I mean? Now you have a range because it's a multiband compressor, so you can go, which the Pro C have a range. Basically, it means how low you want to go when you compress. The most you can go minus 30 either direction. But, you know, maybe you only want 5 dB as sidechain compression, so you can set that there. You can also audition, meaning listen to the sidechain just like with the Pro C. The difference here, though, there is no EQ for adjust anything. You know, so you can just listen, you can't shape the sound. But, you know, you could always do some crazy, you know, shaping of the sound before that. But that's the Pro MB. So let's Pro MB. Boom. Let's do Fruity Limiter. Let's do Pro C2. Boom. So that's the Pro MB. Now let's figure out another compressor we can do sidechaining with and go through that as well. Okay, so the next plugin is actually not a compressor, it's an EQ. So, one of my favorite EQ of all time, the Pro Q2. Boom. So, or 3 actually, so let's rename that. I'm so sorry. Disrespectful motherfucker. Pro Q3. Boom. Same exact thing. It's another FabFilter plugin. Sidechaining available. Same exact way if you accept the signal. So, right now, we have 808. We have a way to show the signal. So right now we are showing the sidechain signal. Boom. There is no sidechain signal. But when we go and accept it and go back, now we have this red line will move really fast, which is the kick sidechain signal. So you find the frequency where the kick affect the most. Let's say about right there. So I want to dip that out. You know what I mean? Remember, this is an EQ. It's not a compressor. It's not going to operate the same way. So you can either do a static or you can do a static with an auto compensate or a dynamic reduction, basically. Dynamic EQ, you know? That's where it comes from. So, yeah, we can put this for turn down the 808. Yeah, but right now, the sidechain signal is not what's affecting that, right? So, now, we go here, and we press this little arrow with the line over it, and if you sip on the little thing, it said the external sidechain button lets you toggle between triggering on the band limited, possibly MS encoded plug-in input signal. A bag of mumbo blood clot jumbo. Basically mean it make you turn on the sidechain for the fucking plug-in. My God. Now, press this, boom. Now the compressor is reacting to the sidechain signal. Notice it come down and it go right back up. There's no sticking. That's as easy as it get with the Pro Q. I guess a benefit to using the Pro Q would be because you can do other like a shaping with the 808. You know, you can take out the bass. Whatever you want, do you have other like options over like the compressor. But you can always add a EQ after or before the compressor to do that. But that is the Pro Q3. So that is 4 different ways you can sidechain in FL Studio. Now, let's find another plugin. So we're going to go to a company that I like, and that would be DMG. We're going to find a mono compressor. So let's use Compassion, and there should be a sidechain feature inside of this plugin. Here we go, sidechain on, off. Boom. So if we go, click here, processing, input 2, right click, yard vibes kick 7, boom, we go back around. Now we only see the signal from the kick, right? So if we turn on sidechain, turn it up, this here, everything, well, now I'm going to say everything. A lot of this stuff down here is in response to, you know, the sidechain signal. So let's set with threshold. Attack super fast, super quick release. We can even put it on auto. Right? Even auto makeup gain, but we don't necessarily need that. The knee, let's see if we can change that. Let's up the ratio also. Turn off the sidechain. Notice the difference in the waveform up top. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Where is that? Should be able to make the GUI a little bit bigger. Not gonna figure it out, but that's basically one step. As you can see, there are levels. So when we turn on sidechain, boom, we have a EQ like the what? Pro Q, not the Pro Q, the Pro C. Very, very similar to the Pro C. You need to start explore this a little bit more. Now, we have multiple, and when I say multiple, I mean multiple different, I'm not going to get into this. Basically, show the sidechaining already. This compressor is amazing. I don't use it a lot now, mostly because I forget about it a lot of the times, to tell you the truth. But there are levels to this shit when it comes to plugin. You see me? You have a transient shaper, you have a clipper, you have sidechain, you have compression, you see me? You have expansion. There's so much stuff in this little compressor. It's amazing. But we don't really have time to get into all of that stuff. So that was the sidechaining portion of the compression plugin. Yeah, so that's it. Would like to do more, but I believe compression is enough. That's a few different manufacturers. There are more out there. I think the FabFilter Pro C and Pro Q is probably the most widely available. You know, we go to work, just quick Google search. Hopefully you learned something from the video, you know what I mean? So until next time, it's your boy Itz-Beez-Da, the TrackStar. Peace.